Hello, Stephan here with Liquidity with the strange, hard to translate German verb heißen, as in ich heiße Stephan.
Liquidity.
First of all, a note of clarification. This video is not about the adjective heiß, which means hot, either in terms of temperature or just as in English, could also mean very attractive. Heiß may occur in the same form as heißen, simply because it's an inflected adjective. So for instance, die heißen Kartoffeln, the hot potatoes, which could be either nominative or accusative case, plural, that would look just like the infinitive form of heißen, but it's a completely different word. As far as I know, they're not cognates of one another. They don't have the same etymology, as far as I know, and I don't see how they would. So be careful not to confuse the adjective heiß with the verb heißen. Two completely different words. Most commonly, the verb heißen is used to say somebody's name or something's name, such as in ich heiße Stephan, my name is Stephan, but it is also sometimes used in somewhat archaic, somewhat ceremonial, formal ways. The tricky thing about heißen is that it is difficult to translate. You have to really think about what does it actually mean in German and how would I say that in English. So it doesn't translate very easily. In English, it means something close to be called, to determine, to denote. And maybe the closest word, if I had to just use one word, would be to proclaim. Let's look at the most common situation in which you would see the verb heißen, and that is if you are asking somebody for their name, if you're asking, or if you're saying your own name. So for instance, I could ask somebody, wie heißt du? That means, what's your name? Or wie heißen Sie? What is your name in the formal way, right? Ich heiße Stephan. Or in a more formal sense, I could say, ich heiße Schafrat, because that's my family name, that's my last name, my surname. And that is not uncommon for people to say. So it depends on the circumstances how you would, which of your names you would choose. One somewhat more formal and archaic and sort of ceremonial way of using the word heißen is with the combination of the adjective willkommen. So to welcome somebody, in German I could say, ich heiße euch willkommen. I welcome you. I proclaim you welcome. I determine you as welcome people. Another term that you will come across if you spend some time reading newspapers, reading German books, is to determine something good, to proclaim something as something positive. And there we have that construction, etwas gut heißen. That's the infinitive. To proclaim something as something good, something positive. So if you approve of something, then you could say, ich heiße es gut, oder ich heiße das gut. It's a little bit archaic, a little bit more formal, but you will come across that. People still use that to some extent in especially written German. In the context of gut heißen, there is actually a noun that has its origin as a verb, but it's turned into a noun, das Gutheißen. And that is actually a written assessment of something that determines whether something is of value or good or sufficient or appropriate for a specific situation. So Gutheißen is a professional or ideally an expert opinion expressed on paper as a formal assessment of something. Another common way to use heißen would be the equivalent of the English expression that means, or what does that mean, or it means that. So in German, I would translate that as das heißt. Or you can ask the question, was heißt das? What does that mean? Or you can even say, was soll das heißen? What's that supposed to mean? So those forms are relatively common, I would say second to what is your name. So in all these forms, you have that idea that heißen means something is being proclaimed, something is being denoted, something is being defined sort of, or even approved of. A little bit more than just saying something, but proclaiming something. Almost like defining it, that sort of thing. Danke fürs Zuschauen. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a like. Please consider subscribing to my channel. Check out my other videos. See if there's something that you like.